Ladies and gentlemen, friends gathered here today, let me speak to your heart, to your soul, and to that silent, sacred part of you that yearns for change, for clarity, and for purpose. There is a battle going on, not out there in the streets, not across borders, but within the chambers of your own mind. Every morning when you open your eyes, you are met with a choice between chaos and order, between drifting and direction, between reaction and renewal. Too many of us wake up already defeated. Our thoughts are hijacked before our feet even touch the floor. The phone rings, the notifications pour in, and we are pulled into the world's noise before we even whisper a prayer or consider the miracle of a new day. The mind, once made to be a temple, becomes a battlefield littered with worry, doubt, fear, and distraction. But hear me now. Morning is a holy time. Morning is the beginning. Morning is the garden where the seeds of your day are sown. If you give the first fruits of your time to distraction, to anxiety, to despair, you'll reap confusion. But if you dedicate your morning, yes, those first sacred moments, to focus, to faith, to purpose, then you will walk through your day with strength, with joy, and with a mind that is renewed. You see, the mind is not just a sponge that soaks up whatever the world throws at it. The mind is a tool, a weapon, a gift, and like any gift, it must be stewarded. You can rewire it. You can train it. You can renew it, not just with science, but with spirit, and that begins in the morning. Wake up before the noise, rise before the race begins. Let your first thoughts not be of bills or burdens, but of gratitude. Before you reach for your phone, reach inward. Still yourself, center yourself, speak words of life over your day. Declare, even before the sun rises, that today is not just another day, it is a new beginning. Now some may say, but I don't have time. Let me tell you, it's not about the time you have, it's about the priorities you make. If you can spend 10 minutes scrolling, you can spend 5 minutes in silence. If you can rehearse your worries in your head, you can meditate on peace instead. What you do in the first hour of your day matters more than you think. It sets the tone, it lights the path, it rewires the circuitry of your mind and restores the soul that the world tries to erode. Fill your mind not with the headlines of despair, but with the truth that uplifts. Speak affirmations that remind you of who you are and whose you are. Journal your vision, exercise your body. Pray, meditate, walk in silence, whatever it takes to remind yourself that you were not born to live in reaction. You were born to live on purpose. You were not called to be a thermometer that measures the chaos of the world. You are a thermostat. You set the atmosphere, and why does this matter? Because when your mornings are intentional, your mind becomes a sanctuary. And when your mind becomes a sanctuary, your life becomes a testimony. You walk into meetings differently. You respond to conflict differently. You carry peace into chaos and clarity into confusion. And hear me, this isn't about being perfect. You will fall short. There will be mornings you oversleep, mornings you miss, mornings where the world feels too heavy. But do not let failure become your rhythm. Get back up. Try again. Reclaim your morning, and you will reclaim your mind. And when you reclaim your mind, you will reclaim your life. The world is loud. The distractions are many, but you, yes, you, can choose a different way, not because of your own strength alone, but because something greater is at work in you. You were not made to be a slave to the demands of the day. You were made to rise with purpose, to begin with power, and to live with peace. That power is already within you. It only needs to be awakened, so I ask you, what will you do with your morning? Will you give it away to the noise? Or will you reclaim it, renew it, and rise into the life you were always meant to live? The answer is not in the hands of time. It is in your hands. Let today be the day you choose to begin again. Let me tell you something that's been true since the beginning of time. What you sow, you shall reap. And every morning you're sowing, whether you know it or not, whether you're intentional or careless, the seeds are going into the soil of your mind, seeds of peace or panic, seeds of discipline or distraction, seeds of purpose or passivity, and come noon, come evening, come the end of your day, the harvest shows up. Some of you are wondering why your days feel chaotic, why your relationships are strained, why your spirit feels heavy. It's because the seeds were scattered without care, without reverence, without vision. You don't build a cathedral by accident. You don't sculpt a masterpiece with one stroke of the hand, and you certainly don't renew your mind by hitting snooze, rushing through traffic, and chasing the clock. The world has trained us to sprint, but the soul was built for stillness. The soul was built to hear a whisper, not a scream, not an alert, not an algorithm, but a whisper. That whisper comes in the morning. That whisper says, "Come back. Begin again. I am not finished with you yet." That's the whisper, my friend. That's the quiet voice that stirs the spirit before the world has had a chance to steal your focus. But you must choose to hear it. You must choose to be still, to be quiet, to be ready. And oh, how rare that is in this age of constant motion, where silence is feared and busyness is praised as a badge of honor. But that badge won't save your soul. That badge won't bring peace to your house or clarity to your calling. Only intention can do that. Only presence, only purpose. The greatest tragedy is not that people fail. It's that they live every day as if they've already lost. They wake up defeated, already surrendered to the demands of life, and they never realize they hold the key to the prison they think they're locked in. That key is routine. That key is renewal. That key is reclaiming the morning before the world lays claim to you. And you might ask, how do I begin? You begin where you are, not tomorrow, not when life calms down, not when you have the perfect journal or the best schedule or the fancy alarm clock that simulates a sunrise. You begin now with whatever you have in the stillness of your own decision. You begin by choosing to wake up and speak truth instead of worry. You begin by giving thanks, even if all you feel is tiredness. You begin by feeding your mind with the good, the noble, the pure, not with gossip, not with fear, not with the lies of culture that tell you you're not enough unless you're constantly producing. Let me tell you something about the soul. It doesn't care how much money you make. It doesn't care about the likes on your photo or the praise of strangers. It doesn't even care how fast you move. The soul only cares that you are connected, that you are aligned, that you are living in truth. And truth doesn't come in a rush. It comes in the quiet. It comes in the morning. It comes in the moment when you decide to stop running from yourself and instead sit down at the table of your own becoming. And when you do that, when you commit to a morning ritual, when you make it sacred, you're not just building a better day, you're building a better life. You're drawing a line in the sand and saying, "No more will I live in reaction. No more will I give my best to the noise and my leftovers to the things that truly matter." You start to live with your eyes open. You start to walk differently. You stop needing to be pushed because you're being pulled. Pulled by purpose, pulled by passion, pulled by the quiet conviction that your life was made for more than just survival. Some of you have dreams buried under the rubble of years of distraction. You've got callings that have gone quiet because you've stopped listening. You've forgotten what it feels like to be alive in the deepest sense of the word. But it's not too late. It's never too late. The morning is still waiting. The sun still rises. Mercy is still new every day. The invitation is still open. Will you accept it? It's not complicated. Don't let the simplicity fool you. It's the small acts done consistently that shape the soul, the quiet disciplines, whispered prayers, the handwritten notes to your future self, the choice to read instead of scroll, to move your body instead of sink into the couch, to sit with your thoughts instead of drown them in noise. These are the bricks. This is how a foundation is laid. One stone at a time, one morning at a time, one choice at a time, and when the storms come, and they will, you won't be shaken, because you've built something deeper than motivation. You've built conviction. You've anchored yourself to something real. You've said, "Come what may, I know who I am, and I know how I begin my day." And that is a power the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. Don't you see it? This isn't about performance. It's about alignment. It's not about productivity. It's about presence. You weren't meant to go through your life like a machine. You were made to experience wonder, to create love, to lead, to shine. But how can you do that if your cup is empty by 9 a.m.? If your heart is anxious and your mind is scattered before the day even starts, you've got to return to the well every morning, not once a month, not when everything's falling apart. Every single morning you go back To the well, you drink deeply from peace, from truth, from purpose, and then you go out into the world not to get filled, but to overflow, and people will notice. They may not say anything, but they'll feel it, in your words, in your walk, in the way you listen instead of rush, in the way you speak with intention instead of reaction. They'll see that you've been with something greater, that you've been with yourself, that you've been with truth. And it doesn't matter if you're a student, a CEO, a parent, or someone just trying to find their way again. You need a morning ritual, because the ground is unsteady, and the wind will blow, and the world is always in a hurry to tell you who to be. But you must decide. You must rise with intention. You must declare over yourself what the world cannot. You must say, "This is the day I have been given, and I will not waste it living beneath my calling." You've been asleep long enough. You've lived in survival mode long enough. You've given your best hours to things that do not give life. But now is the time to return, to reclaim, to remember. You were created to live in rhythm with the dawn, not the demands. You were created to shape your day, not be shaped by it. And it starts with a choice, not a feeling, not a burst of inspiration, a decision. It's a decision to rise, to sit in stillness, to speak truth over your life, to write what matters, to move your body like it was made to be strong, to breathe in grace and exhale doubt. It's a decision to live from the inside out instead of the outside in. And when you do that, everything changes. Your thoughts change, your patterns change, your relationships shift. Your mind, that once felt like a storm, becomes a place of clarity, not perfect, but clear. I've seen people go from despair to hope, not by changing everything in one day, but by changing how they begin. I've seen hearts soften, dreams reawaken, fears lose their grip, not through grand achievements, but through daily presence, through morning rituals that realign the soul and steady the mind. So wherever you are today, however broken or busy or behind you feel, I want you to know, it is not too late. You can begin again, and you can begin by simply showing up for yourself each morning, not for perfection, not for productivity, but for presence, for purpose, for peace. And once you taste that, once you experience the stillness that reorders everything, you won't want to go back. You'll wonder how you ever lived without it. You'll see your mornings not as a race, but as a refuge, not as a burden, but as a blessing, and you'll rise, not just from your bed, but into your calling, into your clarity, into your life. And when you do that, when you live from that place, you'll not only reclaim your mind, you'll help others reclaim theirs. You'll become a lighthouse, steady and strong, not because you never faltered, but because you learned to anchor yourself before the storms ever came. And that, my friend, is where true power lies, in the morning, in the ritual, in the choice. It's a quiet revolution, the kind that doesn't need applause or announcement. Just a person rising with purpose again and again. You may never be recognized for it. No one may see the inner battles you've won before breakfast, but you'll know, you'll feel it. You'll walk taller not with arrogance, but with assurance. You'll speak with more kindness, more clarity, because you're no longer speaking from exhaustion, but from overflow. That's the kind of life this world needs. Not more noise, not more striving, but people who are rooted, grounded, awake. People who live not from their wounds, but from their healing. People who are no longer tossed by the current of circumstance, but who rise like the sun with unshakable light. It won't be easy every day. There will be resistance. There will be temptation to stay in bed, to reach for the screen, to slip back into autopilot. But that's why it's a ritual. A ritual isn't about how you feel, it's about what you choose again and again, because you know the fruit it bears. And in time, what once felt foreign becomes familiar. What once took effort becomes natural, and the mind you once thought was broken becomes whole again. So set your alarm not just for a time, but for a life where you begin each day with the dignity and intention it deserves, a life where the first breath you take is not wasted on worry, but offered in gratitude. That's how you rewire your mind. That's how you reclaim your story, one morning at a time, one breath at a time, one choice at a time. Keep going. It matters more than you know. In the end, the power to transform your life lies within those early moments each day. By reclaiming your mornings and committing to intentional rituals, you begin to reshape your mind, renew your spirit, and live with purpose. It's not about perfection or grand gestures, but about the faithful return to stillness, gratitude, and truth. When you make this choice daily, you unlock strength that carries you through every challenge and brightens every blessing. So rise with resolve, embrace the gift of each morning, and watch how your life is changed, starting from within,